That is the publication of books for primary school students who will be joining grade 4 next year in January. It is a conversation I want us to have with Lawrence Njagi, who is the chairperson of the Kenya Publishers Association. What is their stand when it comes to that? And of course, the government has already said, has already stated, has already said that they are prepared for grade 4 learning come in January. And of course, that is a discussion that we want to have because there's so many concerns that have been raised, not only by publishers, but also by stakeholders at large, including parents. So the publishers have warned that there is not enough time to print new curriculum books for primary school pupils joining grade 4 in January. Now, this means pupils presently in grade 3, the first group to begin learning under the new system of education, might not have new books when they go to the next level. Now, the Kenya Publishers Association, that is KPA Chairman Lawrence Njagi, said the government had delayed to send to publishers competency-based curriculum, that is CBC, design materials. Thank you so much, Mr. Njagi, for joining us. All right, but before we engage Mr. Njagi, let's have a look at that story.
To the ministry, asking for further clarification on when the curriculum designs would be available for grade 4. But logically speaking, and looking at how things are now, publishers require at least 2 to 3 months. On the bare minimum, when we are really pushed, at least 2 to 3 months to prepare materials. The ministry itself requires about 2 months to vet and approve the materials. So logically speaking, we are talking about 6 months, which we do not have. So we do hope that we shall get answers from the ministry on those issues.
Mr. Njagi, just listening to yourself speak right there, you require 3 months.
Yes.
To prepare publication.
Yes.
The ministry requires 2 months.
Yes.
To go through the publication.
Yes.
So paint for us a picture. What's the situation like? Are we in a crisis?
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me, first of all. The 3 months we're asking for is really on the bare minimum. A good publication requires, especially a textbook, which must not have factual errors, requires at least 6 months. So even the 3 months we are talking about is when we have to work day and night. The government itself requires another probably 2 months to vet the materials, approve the materials, and give it back to the publisher, for the publisher to do now what we call printing, reproducing the material. We are now in end of September, basically. So it means we only have about 3 months. So as I was saying, logically speaking, it is not possible to get 6 months from 3 months. So in our mind, we don't see it happening, at least for grade 4.
Okay.
But I would like to clarify that we did seek clarification from the government, specifically Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development. Immediately we did this story, and they did assure us that curriculum designs are on course. Of course, they talked about the issue of quality, which we totally agree with them, that it is it's not worthwhile to remove designs which are not tested and are of quality, because then you'll get books which are not of quality as well. Therefore, what does that mean? That I don't think, in my mind, that we are going to have class 4 books come January next year.
But the Ministry of Education, the government has actually allayed fears that the rollout of the competency-based curriculum could stall.
Yes. If you listen to government pronouncements, there's a difference between implementation and rollout. And implementation is what they promised on 4th of January. And implementation, we're talking about piloting, we're talking about preparing the materials, doing curriculum designs. Implementation will take about 10 years for us to implement the whole curriculum. But the rollout is a totally different ballgame. Rollout is time-bound. We're talking about a specific date. And this year they have been testing what we call national piloting for grades 1 and 2. So the commitment of government, I think, is that since they are almost assured that grades 1, 2, and 3, the testing has been done, and they can do a national rollout. So I believe that maybe we are looking at things from a different perspective. And I think maybe the government needs to come out clearly and pronounce itself more, because in the minds of most private school going children is that in grade 4 it's a new curriculum. But I think it is the schools that went ahead of the system. Because if we were doing national testing for grades 1 and 2, it is therefore impossible to implement grade 4.
So are we trying to say that come next year, January, students will go to grade 4 and they won't have any learning material?
No. I think grade 4, children will not be in the new system of education.
So they'll continue the old system?
That is my suspicion. But government can clarify that, because if we do not have the books for grade 4, to deliver a curriculum, you require books, you require teachers, you require the government itself, and you require parents. Now, we don't have the books. So far, we don't have the curriculum designs. And as I said, the clarification from the KICD is that they require to test the materials, which we totally agree. And they require to ensure the materials are of high quality. That is the curriculum designs. So until we get the curriculum designs, we can't make new books.
So as we speak now, Mr. Njagi, what you're trying to tell us is that as publishers, you don't have the designs.
Yes.
You don't have the curriculum.
Yes.
So everything is with the KICD.
Yes.
The Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development.
Correct.
So clearly it means, it goes back to my question, come January, grade 4 students will end up using the old system.
That is true. But again, we need to listen carefully to government. I think they never pronounced themselves in terms of implementation of grade 4. The only thing they have pronounced themselves about is implementation of the whole curriculum. But the rollout, I think they were very clear, even in January, that they will do national testing, because you cannot roll out a curriculum without testing. They will do national piloting for grades 1 and 2. And therefore, they give us curriculum designs for grades 1, 2, and 3. We prepare the materials. Those materials are ready. They're in bookshops. But I think in terms of rollout, it's just grade 1, 2, and 3 that will be rolled out.
Okay.
And my suspicion is, as you know, private schools always move ahead of public schools. The private schools went ahead and implemented grade 3.
So, you know, it begs the question. So what will happen to students who are ready to proceed to grade 4? They don't have the new curriculum, and they've done the new curriculum in these other grades. Because it means you're mixing the mind of a student from a new curriculum, then you go back to grade 4 and you don't have a new curriculum.
Here's the issue. I think in the first place, there was no implementation in grade 3. So let's start from there. The national rollout was just for grade 1 and 2. But you're very right as well, because private schools went ahead and implemented grade 3. So those children will still find themselves in grade 4. But the government is not implementing grade 4. I don't think so, because we don't have the books to implement grade 4.
Okay.
So I suspect they will have to go back to the old system.
Okay.
But again, I can't answer that on behalf of government.
Okay. So now the next question should be, so when were you supposed to be given the new curriculum and the design for grade 4? Were you supposed, because you say you need 3 months, so in September.
Yes.
So you were supposed to be given in June. Let's talk about June, July.
Yes. If we got them in July or June, certainly would have been able to really work around the clock and avail the materials for the government to vet maybe within a month or so and provide them for printing and therefore available for purchase through the bookshops. But as we speak, we don't have them.
Okay.
We cannot tell when we shall have them because that's not our mandate. For us, we could be having this discussion if we had them and we have not produced the books.
Okay.
So we still do not know when we shall have them.
Okay.
Yeah. And the answer we got from the ministry and specifically KICD is that there are processes that are required before they can release the curriculum designs, including quality assurance. And we agree with them, and we are totally agree with them.
Okay.
But then they should pronounce themselves to the rest of the country and tell the country that come next year, we will specifically implement and roll out grade 1, 2 and 3.
But there's another concern before we cruise over to the book fair as we bring this conversation to an end.
Yeah.
There's a concern from the government, and especially from the Ministry of, from the KICD, that we only have one publisher who's able to publish quality work for the new curriculum.
Whoa, that's a big misconception because Kenya has 110 publishers, registered publishers, through the association. We contribute 99% of all the textbooks used in our schools. We contribute 60% of all the materials used in the region, East African region. And Kenya has one of the most organized publishing industry. We have 2 government publishers, and maybe that's what they were talking about. We have the Kenya Literature Bureau, and we have the Jomo Kenyatta Foundation. Those are purely government publishers. But the private limited companies, we have 110 publishers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about the Nairobi International Book Fair. What do we expect?
Thank you very
it also
much.
comes at a time when you publishers are also raising serious concern.
Yeah. First, that's a very good question, and that's a good area I would like to speak about more. The Nairobi International Book Fair, which is kicking off today as we speak, will go on until 30th, that is on Sunday, 4 p.m. And we are displaying not just the normal curriculum books, but the new competency-based curriculum books. And that's why we're asking even parents to come and just engage with the books, because this is a very different system of education, a totally different approach from the 844. It's practical in approach. It's talking about assessment as opposed to testing. It's talking about problem solving and critical thinking. It's a totally different approach to learning. And it involves the parents as well, because the other one we were only talking about the teacher, the school and the government, but now the parent is a critical player in the new curriculum. So we have a lot of those books on display, but most importantly is that this book fair has truly become the biggest book fair in Africa.
So what is the new thing? What is different about this book fair that begins today and like the others that have been held previously, apart from just involving the parents?
Okay, first it's happening at the backdrop of a new curriculum, which is critical. Secondly, for the very first time, we have overwhelming exhibitors, both international and national and regional. We have exhibitors from Europe, from Far East, from India, Asia, basically from Africa, our friends in Rwanda, Uganda, Tanzania, South Africa, Ethiopia, Senegal, Nigeria. Is truly a reflection of the commitment publishers in Kenya, and actually a statement to say that Kenyan publishing has become of age. And Janet, for your information, we are probably one of the few African countries that truly control their publishing industry in terms of who owns it.
Okay.
You know, whoever owns the paper calls the tune. Kenya, 99.9% of the Kenyan companies are indigenous.
Okay.
So even the multinationals that exist in Kenya, which is just I think 1 or 2, are fully Kenyan, managed and owned. So in my mind, we are probably one of the best countries where we have taken over charge of our publishing industry.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. Mr. Lawrence Njagi, who is the chairperson of the Kenya Publishers Association, just talking to us more about the new curriculum based